Hi viewers, welcome to Techie Track YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about MongoDB in cloud environment. So in our earlier video, what we discussed, how we can create the MongoDB collections and documents in the on-premises environment. On-premises mean the server software needs to be installed in the any physical machine or any physical hardware. But here we are creating the MongoDB database in the cloud environment. So this is one of the key advantage of MongoDB, because you don't want to download and install the MongoDB software in your machine and you need to do the configuration. For example, if you are a freelancer or if you are planning to do a simple planning to develop a simple application and you want to launch the application in the internet, it would be very costly for if you are using the database like some other SQL databases. You need to, first of all, you need to you need to buy the software, you need to install it in your local, and once you verified all your changes right, then you need to launch your application into the internet, right? In any domain, you need to launch it. So at the time, you need to purchase the software in the launching place also. So it will make twice you need to pay the cost. But in MongoDB, you can only one time you can purchase that, and you can use that application, use that database, or use that cluster in anywhere based on your IP address configuration. You can use it anywhere. Okay. So let's see that how we can do the MongoDB cloud configuration. So hope you know what is cloud. So cloud is one of the shared environment. It is available in the internet, and the cloud services is providing by the AWS, Google, and Microsoft Azure. So I already put the video about what is cloud and how can we do the cloud, how can we develop the application using cloud. So those details I already put a separate video in the same channel, so you can find it and you will get idea about cloud. So if you go to the URL https cloud.mongodb.com, it will ask you to start your database applications configuration either in free mode, or you can purchase a paid mode. Okay, so once you click that start free, so it will offer three kind of ways. So if it is a multi-region or dedicated clusters or shared clusters, whatever you want, you can choose that. So here we are going to develop a simple application, and it is for the development purpose only. We are not going to launch any application in the internet, right? So that's the reason I choose on the create a cluster button in the free mode. So it will ask for which organization you are doing that and what is the project name you are going to create a separate database. Okay, so I just give the organization as my org, and it's for the development purpose. So because it is using for the development purpose, so I just give the develop. So before move on to the next step, this is the roadmap for NoSQL database. So first of all, we need to create the project. Once you create the project, you need to choose a cluster. What is a cluster? Cluster means it contains a collection of servers, right? Collection of nodes. Because in MongoDB cloud, we are going to create the cluster. Cluster in which environment? Cloud environment. So under the cluster, we can create a number of databases, collections, and documents. So just now we created the project. Next thing is we need to create the cluster. So once you submit the details for the project, it will move on to the clusters. So if you see that the blue color breadcrumb, right, my org I gave that, and develop is the project name. Under that I need to create the clusters. So clusters will be created in which environment? Cloud environment. So I just click the create new cluster button. So it will ask what is the cloud environment you need to do that, because these three providers are there in the MongoDB. So AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure. I choose an AWS and region as North Virginia and the cluster name. So I'm giving the cluster name as MyDB. Okay, and click the create cluster green button. So immediately it's creating the cluster. So if you are having any experience in the database, right, you know you need to give a lot of comments or you need to ask any DBAs to do these operations, right? But here in the cloud environment, everything is in a user-friendly way. So the MyDB, that cluster got created. Next thing is we need to create the collection and document. Okay. So here what I'm going to do that once the cluster got created, I need to create the database, right? So before I create the database, what I'm going to do that I'm going to provide the access and I'm going to create the user and other things. So first of all, I am going to do the database access. So to give the database access, I need to create a new user. I just give the username and give the password and what is the privileges. So read and write permission I give that and I create the new user. So this is the username test user and the authentication mode as scam. So that is a default thing it is shown by the MongoDB and read and write access to that particular user. Okay. So the database for the database access we create the user. Next what we need to do that we need to access the database from where either you need to connect it from your PC or either you can connect it from all over the world. You need to choose that, right? So for that network access link, if you click that, it will ask the access list entry. So I'm giving 0.000. So the what is the database I'm going to create it? I can able to access this database anywhere from any machines, either from the any from my desktop or from any, even I can sit it in the internet browsing center and I can able to access the database. That is the access list entry. I put it as 00. Generally we won't prefer this kind of all over the world access, free access kind of like that. Due to the security purpose, we need to give the list of IP addresses. Suppose if you are going to use MongoDB for your official purpose or you are going to develop a separate application, you need to configure what are all the IP addresses needs to access the database. Okay, network access is done. So it shows, right, includes your current IP address and it is in the active state. Now I am going to create the database. So while I am creating the database button inside the cluster, it will ask the database name and collection name. So you can create the collection in two ways. Either while you create the database at the time you can create that, or once the database got created, if you see the down screen, right, I gave the database name as testdb and the collection name was emp. So the testdb got created and the emp is the collection name. So collection means tables. So if you want to create a more collections, you need to just click the create collection and you can create it. So while you are creating the collection, it won't ask any structure because that is the beauty of NoSQL database. So next thing is I'm going to directly insert the records. So I'm going inside the EMP collection and click the insert document button. So here it will show the simple JSON format window. In the left side you see that, right, the insert into collection. So I'm just giving the field name as EMP ID and another field name as employee name. Give the values for the particular document. So just insert it. So in the same way I am doing the insertion for three more records. Okay. So in the same screen it will list out all the documents, what are all the documents created. Okay. So this is very simple. You can just view all the documents in the same page. If you want to find any separate record, right, then the same screen you can use the filter box. So you need to give the query like within flower braces that field name and the value needs to be find. So in any other SQL database like Oracle or SQL Server or MySQL, you need to type the structured query language, select star from EMP, you need to give that. So those things are there. But in NoSQL database, you don't want to do anything. You can just give the field name and value, it will give the result. Okay. Next is edit and update. So for each record, what they done that they provide the four buttons. Okay. So if you hover the mouse, you will come to know what is the feature of those things. Click the edit icon. you need to give the employee ID and name, and it will show the update button, so it will be getting reflected immediately. And next one is clone button. So if you click the clone button, it will open the pop-up with the same copy of record. You can do certain modifications. For example, I already have the name called Tom Cruise as employee name. I got another one employee name as Tom Cruise K, but what so certain values are similar to these guys. So what I'm going to do that I'm going to do the clone document instead of creating a new document. So I done the necessary modifications and insert it. So it will list all the things. Okay. So next one is delete documents. Again, the trash icon is there, right? If you click that, it will ask that, and you can click the delete button, and it will be getting deleted immediately. So all the things are happening within seconds. You don't want to write most of the commands and commit also. Okay. So once it's done, it's done. You can't easily roll back that. And next one is copy commands. If you want to copy the certain document, right, it will give it in the JSON format. In the result column, you can see that it will give it in the JSON format. Okay. So I created the cluster and DB collections and everything, right? So what I'm going to do that I need to access this cluster from my application. So to connect the cloud database from the application, you need to get the DB URL. So in the cluster, the connect button is there. If you click that, it will show it will ask one pop-up. So you need to click the connect for application option. Then it will give the detailed connection string. So in the down the line, you can see the two lines are there. That MongoDB plus server. My user is or your username. You need to give that. Okay. I give it as a test user, so I need to give that, and password I need to give my password, and my DB is the cluster name, and ADBA MongoDB net is a default one. You don't want to modify that. And DB name. What is the database we created? We created as a test database. So I just replace it as test database and just give the privileges and other thing. Okay. So you need to just copy this connection string and put it in your application, and you can start your database access. Okay. So in my next video, I am going to create a simple application and how we can connect the MongoDB from the simple application, and the application will be developed in the React.js. So thank you for watching this channel. Subscribe it, like it, please share it with your friends. Happy coding. Bye bye.